Our readings are taken from the book Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. This is week 37. Truth invites, it never commands. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Free will is a basic principle of life. God never coerces. He invites us to live in such a way that we find fulfillment in ourselves. If we refuse to live rightly, Paramahansa Yogananda taught, God simply says, I will wait. We have eternity to live. In that eternity, we live as we choose, in self-created darkness, a darkness as intense and as long-lasting as we choose, or in the infinite light, the true self, which is God. Jesus Christ in the Beatitudes offered a beautiful example of God's way of inviting mankind to seek perfection, not by commanding, but by offering his human children the incentive they need to choose the right of their own volition. Blessed are the poor in spirit, Jesus said, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. In each of the Beatitudes, Jesus explains the blessing attendant upon observing it. The divine way, similarly, for each of us, is not to do violence to our own natures. Spirituality must be attained naturally. It can never be attained by force. The Bhagavad Gita says in the 3rd chapter, even the wise behave in accordance with nature as it is manifested in them. Of what avail then is suppression? The scripture then goes on, however, to explain that this doesn't mean we should surrender to the dictates of our lower nature. Rather, it emphasizes our need to aspire to the heights, but each of us in accordance with his own nature and not in imitation of anyone else's, offering ourselves up for purification by divine grace. Desire, whatever form it takes, so the Bhagavad Gita explains, should be resisted even if only mentally. Attachment and repulsion to sense objects, both of these are universally rooted. No one should accept their influence, for verily they are man's enemies. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
Everyone.
Good morning.
How is everybody today? Yay. Thank you everyone for coming today and joining us. We are honoring and celebrating the discipleship of Swami Kriyananda. It is 69 years tomorrow. It's a very special moment. Tomorrow night we will have a special celebration here at 7 o'clock. All are invited to come to hear more stories about that moment and his discipleship and his life. So we'll both be sharing in the message this morning. I'd like to begin with a reading from Whispers from Eternity. And this is one of Yogananda's poems in the back. It is called God's Boatman. I want to ply my boat many times across the gulf after death and return to earth's shores from my home in space. I want to load my boat with all those waiting, thirsty ones who have been left behind, that I may carry them to the opalescent pool of iridescent joy, there where my Father distributes his all desire-quenching liquid peace. Oh, I will come back again and again, crossing a million crags of suffering. With bleeding feet I will come, if need be 1,000,000,000 times, as long as I know that one stray brother is left behind. I want thee, O God, that I may give thee to all. I want salvation, that I may give it to all. Free me then, O Lord, from the bondage of this body, that I may show others how they too can free themselves. I want thine everlasting happiness, but I want also to share it with others, that all my brothers may find the way to happiness forever and forever in thee. Om. Peace. Amen. This poem which is so beautiful, one of Yogananda's most beautiful, really highlights the importance of us coming back to the Guru, that the Guru and God will not force us to come to him. He will not force us, to love them. They will wait 1,000,000 years till one last brother is left behind. There's a beautiful story of Swami Kriyananda in the earlier days when he lived at Ananda village. For those who don't know, Swami Kriyananda passed away a little over 4 years ago. But he was living at the village at the time, and it was brought to his attention that attendance at Sunday service was low. Now, this is not a suggestion, but and instead of then making a rule, okay, everybody has to come to service, he said, okay, I'm going to start doing Sunday service now for a while and help magnetize it. That has always been his way, never to push from below, but to aspire, to inspire from the top, right? To always invite. There's the great story that we tell many times when Swami Kriyananda walks into a room, and it was early in the morning, and there were a group of people that were sharing a room overnight, and they were just starting to wake up, and they were pretty groggy and sleepy and not quite awake and ready yet. And he walks into the room, and he could have said, "Good morning, sleeping souls." But what did he say? He said, "Good morning, great souls." Always holding the highest, always drawing from above. This is what God does. This is what the masters do for us. This is what the spiritual path does. This is what Kriya Yoga does. For those of us who practice Kriya Yoga, it draws the energy up the spine to the higher chakras, to the higher inspiration, so that we can experience God more deeply in our meditation, but then also in the everyday moments in life. I was thinking of the evolution of the soul from the beginning and how it begins to take on a body, this physical form, and then it awakens to the realization it has an ego. Wow. And then it actually also has a will. I was thinking of the story of the captain that was sailing his boat late at night, and in the distance he could see this light, and he could see that if he continued sailing in the direction he was going to be going, he was going to head right onto this light. There was going to be a collision. So he radios the light and he says, turn your boat east 10 degrees. I don't know nautical terms, but anyway, something like that. Turn your boat east 10 degrees. And the light signals back, turn your boat 40 degrees or 10 degrees west, just the opposite. Well, the captain now is getting a little angry. He goes, I'm a sea captain. Turn your boat back. And then the light responds, well, I'm a second-class seaman. You turn your boat around. And finally then the captain said, really angry, he goes, I'm a battleship. Now you turn. I'm not turning. And then he gets a response. Okay, it's your call. I'm a lighthouse. I can't do anything. There I am. There we are with our awakened egos and our will, and we're doing what we can, right? And we keep doing it till we realize we can't go any further, right? We're stuck, just like that lighthouse. We're just stuck. There's nowhere else we can turn, right? And then we come to the path, and the masters go, yay, we've been waiting for you, right? Remember, they don't force their love on us. They don't force us to come to them. They will wait for us 1,000,000 years if need be, but we turn our attention to them, and then they go, okay, now let's get serious. Now they're like, let's go for it. Yogananda said, the time for knowing God has come now. Not later since you've decided, once you decide, get on that path and we go for it. There's a young man that went to the great saint Ramakrishna and he said, I want to see God. And Ramakrishna said, okay, but let's go first and take a dip in the Ganges, which is this sacred river in India. So they go to the river and Swami Ramakrishna says to the young man, okay, dip. And so as he dips under the water, he's just holding him underwater until he's like starting to gasp. He could see he's gasping for air, and he's holding him till he can no longer stay underwater. And then he comes up and he's just like gasping, he's getting his breath. And so Ramakrishna asks him, what were you thinking about when you were underwater? Were you thinking of your job? Were you thinking of your fame or your money or your wife? I'm sure he was thinking about his wife, but what were you thinking about? And I added that part to the story, but he says, no, I was just thinking about when am I going to get that first air? When am I going to get air again? And Ramakrishna said, good, because when you want God that much, that's when you're going to see God. That's when you're going to know God. Ananda Moy Ma, the great saint, said, we have just two choices in life. We could either choose to seek God or not seek God, right? And we come to the path, and the masters, especially we're talking about this lineage now, they brought us the teachings of God, of self-realization. Yogananda brought us the airplane route to God. It's called the path of Kriya Yoga, right? It's the path of Kriya Yoga. It's energization, it's Hang Sa, it's the practice of Om, it's the practice of Kriya Yoga, the technique itself, plus devotion. He said, if you do these 5 things, he promised us, you will find God. You will find God. Okay? We're given that promise. We're given that promise. But then what happens? The ego, the will, we forget. We become the lighthouse. We stop moving, right? But that's where satsang, that's where community is so important. Coming today, you could have gone anywhere else today. So really, thank you for coming and joining us. But it's making that commitment that I want to find God now. And then the masters really rejoice. They're so happy when we come to them, but then they really rejoice. And they say, okay, Now open your heart to me, as we say every week in the purification service. Open your heart to me, and now I will enter and take charge of your life. I will give you these teachings. I will give you everything I know so that you too can know God. And we'll do it by invitation. We'll never force. Because that's not the way that the masters work. That's not the way Swami Kriyananda worked with us. He always taught us by inspiring us. Do you like the joy you feel? Do you like what you're feeling? Do you want to feel more peace in your life? All these qualities. And of course the answer is yes. Who doesn't want more joy? Who doesn't want more peace? Who doesn't want more power? Who doesn't want more wisdom? Okay? These teachings, they've come to show us the way. And it's just really beautiful that with this topic we're honoring, and tomorrow night do come if you can, honoring the life of Swami Kriyananda, somebody who said yes. He said to Yogananda, I want to be your disciple. I want to be your disciple. I know that I want to find God, and I know that you've been there. And so I want you to show me the way. And through that, then, Swami Kriyananda has blessed all of us and has given us the path, again, of Kriya Yoga, these teachings, so that we too may realize who we really are. That divine truth, wisdom, joy, love, kindness, all those qualities. So we hope to see you also tomorrow night, but thank you all for coming today, and God bless your efforts on this journey, knowing that the masters are rejoicing every time we come together to celebrate in their name. Okay. Oops, he's caught.
I've been trapped.
You know the joke about the minister that gets caught on his wire? There's a joke. There's a joke for everything. The little kid leans over to his mother or father and says, "If he gets loose, will he hurt us?"
Thank you all for coming. You know, they say that the problem on the path is missing the point. They say that, you know, an example of, part of the topic today is wisdom, and they say that there's a huge difference between knowledge and wisdom. And an example of this is, you know, knowledge is the understanding that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. The problem on the path is we miss the point, often. And I just want to talk real lightly about it because, you know, everybody in here is deeply sincere about seeking wholeness, about making a difference in this world. And it's amazing how easy it is to miss the point. And I'm going to use something that's actually very immediate within our own Sangha, within our own temple and teaching center, support staff. They're the staff that make it possible for you to come every Sunday and coordinate the volunteers and keep the carpets clean and gather all the resources to make the beautiful altar and fix the roof and all those other things. And we celebrate beautifully. Many times during the year we've been given, it's really fun, we've been given 5 God-realized masters to support us on our path, plus the living example of Swami Kriyananda, who was present for all of us. If you appreciate Ananda, even the slightest blessing, even the slightest benefit comes to you from Ananda, is because of a moment that man over there turned toward the light and said, I offer myself into that light for my own salvation, for my own awakening in truth, and on behalf of anyone who's interested. And he spent his life then just making himself available to help us understand how it really works. So we celebrate both the births of these great masters, all of them except Babaji, who we have no clue when he was born, and their passings, all except Babaji, who hasn't left the planet yet. But we have a commemorative day for him also. And when we do, for years we've done this. We've been in Portland. Ananda has been in Portland since the late 80s. And we have held these celebrations every year and made them available. And we were noticing about 6 or 7 years ago that these celebrations were fairly poorly attended. We realized there was something wrong. And a very wise friend of ours, she said, do you make it possible for people to participate in the celebration? And we said, well, what do you mean? She said, not everybody has the capacity for whatever karmic reason or dharmic reason to spend their lives actively in service to these teachings. But of course, everybody is blessed by what comes through them, their efforts, their activities, their gestures, what they do with their lives. And if you don't make room for people to give, to participate, to give of their life energy into what you're doing, there's no room for them. There's no sense of connection. And we said, well, what would you suggest? She said, you should make it possible for people to donate when they come. Because people's money represents their life force. They went out and they spent their time. They spent all of us, we have one commodity on this planet. We have one commodity, and that commodity is time. And how we spend our time is what we get back. It's what we leave with. It's the only thing we have. And if we spend our time in service in an economic way, a part of what we get back, if we're yogis and we're giving into the job our love and our service, we get back the gratification of that. But we also get back this universal vehicle for transferring energy, and we call it money. And if you don't make room for people who spend their time doing that to offer themselves financially in support of these things that matter so deeply to them, they can't feel connected. So we said, okay, well, we'll give it a try. Because there's another deep truth, which is, spiritual teaching shouldn't cost. These things, there's an invitation to step up into truth, and it's not barred to anybody. In fact, the widow's mite in the Bible is a story that reflects itself throughout time, and especially our story. Even the slightest gesture, if it's made from the depths of the soul, is what God feels, and that's the most powerful thing. But it's the depth of the soul. If there's abundance and it's offered, if there's just a little and it's offered, it's the offering from the depths of the soul that matters. But the temple team was saying, gosh, I don't think we should... Well, when we started doing it, we noticed that attendance in these events soared. We went from 20 or 30 people to 60, 70, 80, 100 people. This tremendous response happened because people could feel that it was something that was not only there for them, but it was there with them. They could be a part of it. So we were having the conversation just in the last few days. Tomorrow night is Swami Kriyananda's discipleship. And we were laying out the evening, and we said we'll have a time for a devotional offering, bringing a flower which represents the devotion of the heart, and giving people a chance to offer financially. And there was some pushback from the temple team. Why should we make it so that people offer? And there's a truth in it, because this isn't us sitting around going, cough up. You need to pay to be here. It's absolutely never that. But if we don't leave room for participation, if we don't leave room for a meaningful investment of energy into life, we lose the connection. Think about this for just a moment. Every one of us is involved in economics at some level. Think about the power of $1. Every time you spend $1, you vote. And what you do is you reinforce something in this world. Every single dollar, every single penny you spend reinforces something in this world. If you go into a bar and you buy a drink, that bar gets stronger, and the capacity for alcohol to be an influence on this world gets stronger. Every time you come into the temple and you offer, this light becomes stronger in the world. And what's interesting? The masters all tell us that the outer world is merely a reflection of our inner world. The things that we give our energy into are what grow inside of us. You know, as Gangamata said, we're preaching to the choir. You guys all showed up today. We know, you all know this. But it's easy, even at the center of the story, to start to miss the point and to think that how it works isn't really how it works. Maya, Satan, whatever word you want to give to it, that force is very subtle and it works on the psychology of the individuals around. The whole point of the path is for us to reclaim what's already there. I was listening to a talk by Swami Kriyananda around discipleship. I was listening to it last night and this morning. It's very lovely. It's about an hour and a half long. But he says, in all these years of teaching, I haven't taught a single person anything. I don't think you can teach anybody anything. He said, all I do is perhaps remind you of something you already know. Because if you don't already know it at some point inside of yourself, if you don't know it, then it will be as if I never said it. It will just pass by you. Who has read the autobiography of a yogi? Okay? Who's read it more than once? Who has felt like it's the same book both times or each time? Nobody. Because in between those times of reading, you've remembered things. And all of a sudden that book speaks to the things that you're able to remember. All we're trying to do is remind each other and ourselves of what's true. All we're trying to do is use our life energy to reclaim that kingdom of happiness and joy and real integrity and power. Simple things like people are so concerned about money and so concerned about jobs and so concerned about security. Master said we should live, we should learn, each one of us, you and me, and each one of us in here, we should learn to relate in service to this larger world. He said success isn't money in the bank. He said it's the ability to manifest at will that which you daily need. Think about that. That's how we should be living, and that's what we should be aspiring to. And that's what we should be supporting each other in, is that capacity to just be magnetic and do whatever's needed so that we're in a meaningful relationship with life at whatever size is needed. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Who thought of that? Who thinks about that on a daily basis? No, we're concerned about our job, our income, we get these little structures and edifices that can't possibly sustain, and we're always worried about them. We should support each other in creating a relationship to life that's dynamic and moves and is always relevant and always works. That's wisdom. Knowledge is knowing these things, but wisdom is applying them appropriately. And the invitation of Ananda is always the same. Come, play with us. Play with the masters. Play with God. Discover from inside out how beautiful and joyful and majestic and magnificent and fulfilling life can be when we get in tune, when we get into harmony with how it really works. And Ananda is just a place where we come together. Ananda is you, and you, and you, and you, and me. Ananda is all of us just trying to support each other in friendship, to remember how it really works, and to live in the highest wisdom, and then to include everybody in the byproduct and also in the adventure. So let's just take a moment. Let's just feel for the joy and the privilege we have. Let's feel grateful for Swami Kriyananda, for these masters, first of all. As souls, they responded to God's call to come and help us remember. And let's remember Swami Kriyananda, who felt that offering that they had so deeply, that he offered himself. And through that self-offering, remember, it's just one soul. Could be you, could be me. God would use us in ways we can't imagine if we just offered ourselves. Meditation is single-pointed concentration on God or some aspect of the divine. Self-realization is complete openness, unbridled to that flow of goodness and light. So let's just meditate for just a moment on that flow, on that joy, and on that invitation from God.
It is taken from Swami Kriyananda's oratorio, Christ Lives.